Hey everyone, my name is Jared. Welcome back to my series on maximizing Lyft and Uber profits. Now this is video number 2 on whether or not you should drive for Lyft. Now if you haven't watched the first video, I recommend you do so. I'm going to include a link to it in the description of this video. Before we jump into that, I do want to give you guys a little bit of update on my stats. This is for the week. 32 rides, about 25 hours worked. This is the week of Cinco de Mayo, so keep that in mind. About 810 rides total for myself, and my total payout, there's my rating. My total payout's going to be about $812 for the week, plus some cash tips. So, let's jump right in. Now, like I said, this is video number 2, should I drive for Lyft and Uber? Now, what I find is the most important is to make sure that you have a very specific objective, a reason for driving. Now, for mine, I have very specific things that helps get me out there, accomplish those goals, because there's some hard days. You know, you gotta fight through that time. If you've got an objective, if you've got a reason, it's really gonna help you guys fight through those times. Obviously, the only reason that you're working a second job is for the extra money. Okay, maybe that's debt, maybe it's fun money, maybe it's saving for a specific goal. For me, it was all three. My first stages when I started driving, it was specifically I had some debt that I wanted to retire. I got rid of that debt. I was working on just some things for fun, and then I started changing my strategies a little bit because I had a very specific goal, and that's what I'm working on these days. Now, what I want to break down for you guys is basically this is a job, not like any other job. So I kind of want to organize this in a way almost like a job description that you would provide for a resume for any sort of a normal job. And so I think it's important to look at Lyft like an actual job that you have to go into and spend your time on, and you need to look and see if you qualify for this job, because not everybody does. What are the qualifications? You have to be good at driving. I mean, there's no way around that. You have to be a good driver. People person. A lot of people use that excuse. Well, I'm not really a people person. Well, fake it or make it. You got those two choices. You can fake it. I mean, really all you have to do is say, hey, how you doing? How's your night going? When they get in, it's not that difficult. When they get out, say, have a good night. That's really it. You don't have to like put on a show. But also the most important qualification, I think, is a business mindset. This is not a regular job. You have to worry about, you're not guaranteed to get paid. You have to think about this like you're an entrepreneur. The amount of money that you make is up to you, okay? It's not up to somebody else, it's up to you. Now, what are the actual requirements for this job? 2006 with 4 doors will get you driving for Lyft. However, one of the most important things, and I'm going to be talking about it later, and I've talked about it in the last video, is the weekly bonus. They call it the Power Driver Bonus. That'll take your dollar per hour for the week from about $16 up to about $20 or so. It'll add $4, $4 or $5, depending on how much you ride, if you can start scoring some of those Power Driver bonuses. You can only qualify for those Power Driver bonuses if you've got a 2012 or newer. Now, these are Lyft's requirements. Uber has very, very similar ones. You guys can look them up. I don't know if I would recommend that anybody drive for Lyft if you're unable to score those weekly bonuses. I just think they're too important. You have to be 21 or older, obviously, with a clean record, and you've got to have in-state plates, registration, and smartphone. Okay, those are the requirements. Again, looking at this like a job where you're applying for, what are your key results? What are your expectations? What are your responsibilities and duties? Okay, really it comes down to 2 things. Practical, personal. Really simple. Safe transport. What are you doing? You're taking a person from one place and you're taking them and their friends safely from one place to another. That's really what you're doing. That's all you're doing. 3 stages: a safe pickup, safe journey, a safe drop-off. That's your responsibility. That's what we're talking about here. The extra side of that is the personal side. If they wanted to feel like a package, they'd order a taxi. They don't want to feel like a package. They want to feel like a person. It's your job to make them feel like a person. It can be simple things. Water in your car, a charger. Okay, it doesn't have to be crazy. How you doing? How's your night been? Have a great night. Simple things like that, okay, will accomplish these goals. One of the things that I want to talk about, and I'm going to switch over here, one of the things that I want to talk about, and I think it's really, really important here, it's really actually a little bit personal. I found in my entrepreneurial life that there are certain types of people in my life. There are people that, even though they say that they care about, what I'm doing and, they care about me, sometimes when you talk to people about what you're doing and they give you advice, what they're really thinking is why they wouldn't want to do it. And they project that onto you. It happens a lot. Hopefully, for this, it's not going to happen so much for you, but just keep that in mind that I found this to be possible. And if you've got somebody telling you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do it, it's dangerous, they give you all these reasons, keep in mind that maybe they're just giving them the reasons for why they don't want to work hard, why they don't want to go out and make money, why they don't want to go and take responsibility for their future. So keep that in mind. I think it's really important that you balance that against all the other information out there that you can find. I'm only one source. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your spouse, talk to your parents, whatever the case may be. Get all that information, but keep that in mind, because I have found that it happens, and don't let it unruly over influence your decisions. Back to it. Common reasons not to drive. I'm going to walk through each of these, okay? Some of these are legitimate, some of these are not so legitimate. Money isn't good. Well, I've been showing you guys that the money actually can be very good. It can be different. It's all based on where you're driving and what your market is. Sacramento, where I drive and live, it's not one of the biggest cities ever. I'm making money there just fine. I've also driven down to San Francisco and made good money there too. It just depends on where you are, and you got to go out and try it. Okay, I don't have information on every city everywhere. You got to try it. Take my tips, take what you're learning in these videos, apply them, and I think you're going to find that the money actually is pretty good. Now, the next reason that people are hesitant to start driving for Lyft or for Uber is that people suck. This is true. People do suck. However, most people are fine. Most people don't suck. I showed you I have 810 rides. I've had 2 close barf calls. That's another thing. People, they're gonna throw up in your car. I've had 2 close ones, and I had one that actually happened a few weeks ago. I actually got thrown up in my car. Never fear, I got $150 for it. I paid $10 in cleaning supplies, 20 minutes of gross out. I made $150. Got back out on the road, kept earning on that day. Out of 810, I've had 3 problems. Really only 1 problem with barf in the car. There are jerks out there. That happens. I've had maybe 2 or 3 real jerks in my car. Again, this is maybe 5 total rides that I wish I didn't take out of a total of 810. Really, really low percentages. And guys, I drive in the worst parts of the night. I'm driving 10 o'clock through 3 a.m. to get my money. If you're doing 5 a.m., taking people to work, taking people home from work, I think the amount of people throwing up in your car is going to be a lot less than mine. By the way, irony, I do all these drives at night when the bars close, and really when the person chucked in my car, it was noon on a Saturday. So, irony. Next thing we're going to talk about is bad at directions. If you're bad at directions, that is okay. All you have to do is follow your phone. Can you follow Waze? Can you follow Google Maps? If you can follow those directions, you can get people where they need to be. It helps if you know your city, because sometimes Waze and Google Maps is wrong. That's just how it is. And sometimes you're going to get dinged because the passenger thinks that they know a better way to get there, and maybe they do, but they didn't decide that they were going to help you out and tell you that they'd rather go a different way, and then they ding you on your rating because you went the wrong way, even though that's what Waze was telling you to do. Unfortunately, that's just life. That's one of the major reasons that I don't have a 5-star rating is navigation. It just happens. But just because you're bad at directions doesn't mean you can't drive. Unsafe. Now, here's one that I can only talk about in my experience. Let's be honest. I'm 6'2", I weigh 330 pounds, and I'm a guy, all right? I'm not as concerned as some people might be with safety. Now, I can say I have never felt unsafe. But again, that's just for me. I can't tell you how you're going to feel. I can't tell you the situations you're going to be in. However, if this is a concern for you, there are plenty of rides that can happen during the day. I would say if you're not going to do a Friday night and Saturday night sort of bar club scene, then you really are going to have to work the going to work mornings, because there's some good prime times in there. You're going to have to learn it. I don't know those myself. I can't attest to those. I'm asleep. Self-employment is hard. This is going to be something that a lot of people are going to tell you. I can tell you it's not that hard, okay? You got to track your costs. We're talking about that. You're going to get 1099. The taxes aren't that much more difficult. I do my taxes in TurboTax every year. It's not that big of a deal. There's some other things that you got to worry about with self-employment, but really, you can do it. It's not that difficult. It's not that scary. Pay more taxes. Well, again, we just talked about that. If you're tracking your costs, well, you're paying about the same taxes that you'd pay normally. Now, there's some self-employment tax and, there's some different things in there. But in reality, if you're really tracking your costs the way you should, you're really not going to pay more taxes. In fact, you might pay less. Driving's going to destroy your car. Well, yeah, driving your car makes your car, there's maintenance that goes into driving your car. That's a fact. That is true. You have to manage that. You have to get your oil changes. You have to get your brakes done. Have professionals do the work. Factor that into your costs. My cost calculator that I talked about in the last video that I'm going to include in the description in this video includes all that stuff. As long as you're factoring that in as a cost, then you're good to go. Now, would I drive a really expensive car? No. I had a F-150. I drove it for a few weeks, got the basics of Lyft, decided I really wanted to do this, and I traded that expensive car for something that was a lot cheaper and gave me better rides. Not a people person. We talked about this a little bit. Fake it. You're going to be facing the road. Fake it. How you doing? How's your night? How's your day? Get people talking about themselves. Do a lot of nodding. Do a lot of that sounds great. Awesome. Wow, that's cool. When you're done, have a good night. Okay? It's not rocket science. It's pretty easy. Not a good driver. This one I can't help you with. If you're not a good driver, you probably shouldn't drive for Lyft or Uber. You've got to be comfortable on the road. You got to be comfortable in the cities that you're driving in. Now, if you're comfortable everywhere else but downtown, getting in and getting out of whatever those situations, those tight squeezes sometimes, just learn it. Get out there and learn it. But you've got to be a good driver in order to do this. That's it for this week. If this helped you, thumbs up, subscribe. There's my referral code. Next week, I'm going to break down the sort of a quick and dirty summary of all the most important things that I think you guys need to know. I actually think next week is going to be a really good video for just all this information. Okay, guys, have a good one and go make some money.